my channel, and I am really enjoying planning out these cozy things chats. And I thought an addition I would make to each episode uh, was to read a cozy quote at the beginning and to share one cozy thing that maybe I haven't talked about on my channel, or it's been a long time since I've talked about it and I just want to talk about it again. So the cozy quote that I found, I heard on a podcast and I just loved it. And I think I've probably heard this before because it's from the Winnie the Pooh series by A.A. Milne. And it starts out with Pooh saying, "I don't feel very much like Pooh today." And then, "There, said Piglet. I'll bring you tea and honey until you do." It's just so sweet. And then the cozy thing is the 1986 A Little Princess. So this is one that was a little bit, like people of my generation kind of watched the 1995 one. But this one is my favorite. And it's an added bonus if you do like kind of the plot of the book more. This is very faithful to the book. But I mean, it's got Sarah Crew, she goes through some hard times, but it's in a cozy boarding house, even if she is, kind of banished to the attic at one point, but it's just got a very leisurely feel to it. I think it's around 3 hours. The acting is phenomenal. And I just love some of the elements that you miss on the shorter versions. Like she has a friendship with a kind of wealthy family that she's met from just her being out and about in the city. It's just got a lot to love about it, and it has a beautiful soundtrack. And I definitely recommend it. So without further ado, I am really excited that I am being joined today by Victoria from A Musical Bookworm. And Victoria is a teacher. And can you remind me what it is you teach?
I am a music teacher.
Oh, right. You musical bookworm, a music teacher.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure it's been a very interesting, to say the least, time to be a teacher.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We're almost
Yes.
done.
Yes, you are. You are almost done. And Victoria is married to Julia, who makes some kind of regular appearances on her channel, which is very fun. And yes, so I am looking forward to finding out what things you have on your list, Victoria. So should we do the first thing?
Sure. Are we going back and forth, or is like, is this just an interview? Or we're going
It's
back and
more
forth?
it's more like an interview. So like you'll
Okay.
say your thing and then maybe I'll ask follow-up questions or
Okay.
that kind of a
Perfect.
thing.
Alrighty. Well, I guess my first one is one that I don't know if everyone finds this cozy, but I do. And I found as I was making my list, a lot of my cozy things have nostalgia attached to them,
Mm.
and that was kind of a theme. But like either Kiki's Delivery Service or Totoro. Like most studio Ghibli movies are cozy to me, but like not all of them. But in particular, Kiki's Delivery Service and Totoro are just super cozy to me.
Oh, I read Kiki's Delivery Service for middle grade March. And then I was like, when I finish, I'll watch the movie. And then I just never got around to watching the movie. But I really want to because the book, I kind of thought I will enjoy it more as a movie, basically. Like it didn't have that much detail, but I thought kind of the amount of detail there would be perfect for a movie.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like maybe the studio, how do you say it? Ghibli or Ghibli?
I go back and forth. Pick your favorite.
Okay, Studio Ghibli. We'll just go with. I'll go with that. You go back and forth if you choose to do so. But I feel like there's a very whimsical feel about those
Absolutely.
films, and even one that is definitely more sobering in themes. I think it's called The Wind Also Rises.
Hmm.
Because it deals with like World War II elements, but it does so in a way that is gentle.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one. There's a lot of them that I haven't seen. Um, I like Howl's Moving Castle as well, but it's just so different from the book that it's like a separate thing entirely. But
Yes.
that one too feels more on the cozy side.
And then you said besides Kiki's Delivery Service, what was the other one?
Oh, Totoro?
And
It's because he's
what
the
is,
big,
I don't
like,
even know.
friendly. He's the big, friendly, gray, like, he looks like a cat, but he's like a giant cat-looking thing. I'm
Oh,
actually, I don't remember what animal he's supposed to be, but he's like a big, cuddly friend.
that's
Really
lovely.
sweet.
Yes, it sounds very endearing.
Yeah, he is very endearing. So, yes,
Excellent, excellent. All righty, shall we move on to number two?
sure. And this one, I think you will agree with me because I know that you like Cinderella. I know that you
Ooh,
love Cinderella. So I've been a little bit obsessed lately, especially because I realized that on Disney Plus they put up the. Have you ever seen the Whitney Houston and Brandy version of
yes,
the Cinderella music?
yes.
Yeah, so I watched that for the first time in like so many years, like a couple weeks ago, and it was just like the most heartwarming experience to watch that again. Again, nostalgia. I feel like all these things I have always have nostalgia attached to them, but yeah, I just like that version so much.
It really is so good. And I think you're so right. When nostalgia is attached to something, it's this real feeling of being safe, I think,
Yeah,
and secure while you're watching it. And there's just so much to love about that version of it. I mean, the music was already good, like the Rodgers and Hammerstein
yeah,
music, but
yeah,
I feel like all of the performers, all of the singers in that really brought it to a whole other level, particularly Whitney Houston.
yes,
And
Queen.
like,
She's the
yes,
queen.
yes, Whoopi Goldberg as the queen, and even Victor Garber as the father. Um, and then I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays George Costanza in Seinfeld.
Yes, I forgot he was in it, and I was laughing because I was like, "This is an odd role for you."
It's very random.
Yeah.
But I also love Bernadette Peters as the
Oh
stepmother.
yes, yes, she's wonderful.
She really is. And I just love the vibrancy of all the costumes. They're just very bright and cheerful looking.
Oh my gosh, the ballroom scene and they're all dancing is gore. It's like one of my favorite ballroom scenes now. I think is their
Yes.
costumes are just beautiful. Yeah, the vibrancy, the colors. They're all like in like a purpley bluish hue.
Uh-huh.
It's just such a pretty scene.
It is. It really is. Oh, very nice. Now I want to watch it.
They just put it on Disney Plus. It wasn't up before, so I was
Yes.
super excited to realize that. I
Yes. And I'm surprised it took them that long to put it
know.
on.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yes. And now it was funny because when I heard it was going on Disney Plus, I told my husband, "Did you know that they're putting the Brandy Cinderella on there?" And he's like, "But you own it on DVD." I was like, "I know, but I'm happy for the new generations that will get to experience it."
Yes, it's not under lock and key like you only have it on VHS.
Yes, exactly.
I
Exactly.
think I might have had it on VHS at some point, but I have no idea what would have happened to it. Like it's either at my mom's house somewhere or buried under a pile of something. Like who knows? So yay. I'm glad it's there too.
It is funny what happened to those relics of our childhood. Some of them were just like, what did actually happen to that?
Yes. A lot of movies, a lot of VHS movies
Yes.
have been gone missing, sadly.
Yes. Alrighty. What is number three on your list?
I guess I'm on movies. I just put movies as my first three. So I
That's
have another
fine.
I have one more movie. Do I have okay, maybe two ish. One and a half.
Whatever is
So
fine.
um one that is it's kind of technically a Christmas-ish movie, but I watch it all year long. It doesn't matter. And I think it could work for all year. But it's While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock. You know that
Yes,
movie?
I do. I do. So, what is it in particular about that movie that just draws you in?
It's I think it has a sweetness to it that I like in my romantic comedies for sure. It's very it has like an I don't know, a sweetness and innocence to it that some romantic comedies don't have. And maybe it's the Christmas element too that's like very cozy. But yeah, and I just love like the story is unique too, or it feels unique to me. So I just enjoy it as a story as well.
Yes. No, and I know exactly what you mean about the sweetness because I think there are a fair number of romantic comedies that have this kind of edge of cynicism about them, and it's supposed to be like punchy and funny, but it just feels a little bit sharp sometimes.
Hmm.
And there is a real, like, she's very romantic,
Yeah.
um, but they don't belittle her romanticism. And it's funny because I don't want to do spoilers, but it's like she's still able to be a romantic by the end. Things just turned out maybe differently than she would have thought of. And I think also what can really make a romantic comedy great is the side characters. And there are so
Oh
many fun side characters in that, with all of Peter's family, but in addition,
I
Joe
love
and Joe
his
Jr.
family. Yeah, Joe Jr. Yeah.
He's still single. Shocker.
Yeah. Is this guy bothering you? He looks like he's leaning.
um, and you know what? I before like before 2020, I would have been opposed to doing anything like remotely Christmassy when it wasn't the day after
Uh-huh.
American Thanksgiving. But now I'm like, I think we could all just use Christmas joy
Oh
sprinkled in throughout.
yes,
But then
Chris
it's nice
Hillier.
if you are like, yeah, if you're strict about Christmas movies, it's like it's not a strict Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason I someone pointed it out that they're like, "Oh, it's a Christmas movie." And I'm like, "It is?" It's like, I didn't even realize that. I just watch it whenever.
Yes. No, that's great. And I could see it being also, people talk about having on like a background movie. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it
if
is.
you're like
It's a good
cleaning,
background
or maybe
movie.
if you like doze off while it's on, you've seen it so many times, it's okay.
Yeah, that's one of those movies for me. I'm like, I could quote it. I know what scene's coming next. It's
Yes. Oh, that's so fun.
a fun one.
Alrighty. What is the fourth thing on your list?
So I don't know if anyone mentioned this in your other ones, but I'm not crafty like you are. I don't do knitting or anything. I wish I did. I wish I knew how to do any of that. Like maybe someday I'll pick it up. But like the only thing like sometimes I'll be doing with my hands like while watching something or while listening to something, especially like listening to audiobooks. If I'm not like going on a walk, because usually I listen to audiobooks while I'm walking and getting exercise. But if I'm at home and I want to listen to an audiobook and I don't have to like clean or anything, I love adult coloring books. I think they are really
Oh,
cozy too. Um, they're just to me they're peaceful, which is funny because I have a friend who was like they stress me out because she's like she feels very stressed because she has to like color in the lines and stuff. Like it's not free enough for her. But I'm like to me it's like the structure of like I'm gonna like color in this box is like really like calming to me. It's like the mundaneness of it and I think the repetitiveness of it and then I get to like plan like be a little bit artsy because I'm not very like visually artsy at all, but it makes me feel like I am. I have I have some that I haven't used yet, but like this one I'm dying to use. It's the Time Garden
wow.
and it's just so pretty and I think there's a story even in this one. Like there's like a little girl and like a clock and she like goes up in the clock tower. It just looks so neat. Yeah, there's like a little girl who goes throughout this. I don't know what the story is because I haven't like flipped through the whole thing, but
So
yeah.
it's almost like a wordless picture book.
A little bit, yeah. And there's always a
That's
little girl and she's like going around places.
See, that seems so appropriate for like a bookish person to do because it seems like
Yeah.
love of story in it.
Mhm.
Now, it's funny because I too, like, I have done some adult coloring pages and I really like them. And I was like, oh, my mom has always loved to color. So I got her one of those for Mother's Day. And then eventually she confessed to me because she kept not coloring it. She's like, it stresses me out. I'm worried I'll mess it up.
Yeah, okay. So I've heard that before. Yeah, that it's not for everyone.
Yes. But it's like, what are the, big consequences? Like you colored outside the line. That's like the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Alrighty. Are we on number 5?
Yes. Yes, we are. Um I as far as books go, I have a few books that I was thinking of. Um Narnia books are really cozy to me,
Oh.
but like only the early ones. Like the later, like the last two in the series are like they get a little bit more heavy in their themes and stuff. So like the more earlier ones to me are cozy.
So, but there are a couple different, there's like publication order and then sequential order. So when you say the last two, which ones do you mean?
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, so I know I read them as like Magician's Nephew and then Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe, which I know is not everyone's like favorite because that's not the publication order, right? That's like chronological
I
order.
think, yeah, I think it's chronological. Yeah.
But because that's what I did first, I don't know, I can't get out of that. I
That's
want
the
to
first
try.
experience. Yeah.
I want to try
Maybe.
someday to read them in publication order and see how it's different. But to
Yes.
me, the early ones to me are like Magician's Nephew and Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe, even though I realize it's not correct.
Yeah, I also I think I really like The Horse and His Boy and The Silver Chair, but those do have some a lot darker kind of things happening within them.
Hmm. And it's
Uh,
not that they can't be cozy and have like darker themes. I think they can be, but just my association is more with the earlier ones
yes,
being
yes.
like a
Maybe
warm
like
hug.
little girl going and having tea with a fawn and like
Mhm.
they meet Father Christmas, it's and like they they go have supper in a beaver dam. Like
Mhm.
what is
Right.
not to love about that?
Mhm. So really, just
Yeah.
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is
Yeah.
the coziest one.
I think The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe too is the like lowest reading level too. So that's nice if you kind of are like, I
Definitely.
know I've read that one to Peter, but he's not. I know my dad read The Horse and His Boy to him, and it was too much for him. Um,
Yeah, I could see that. I struggled through that one when I was a kid. I remember
mhm.
not really understanding like the plot in general. I being like, "What's happening?"
Yes, I feel like there's a lot of politics involved and
Yeah,
like
a little bit
maneuvering.
more. Mhm.
Yes, yes. Alrighty. And is this kind of a bundle one, this fifth one? Did you have a couple other books included on that?
In Narnia or like different books?
Yes, different books.
Oh, different books. Well, E.B. White stories, the like
Oh,
Trumpet in the Swan, I love. Charlotte's Web, Stuart Little. Those are also like a warm hug to me. I like to
I
read those.
I'm so ashamed to say I have not read any of them.
Oh,
I know. I
do
was
it.
I was planning for middle grade March to read the Trumpet. Is it the Trumpet and the Swan?
The
Or
Trumpet and the Swan, yeah.
okay, I was planning to read the Trumpet and the Swan. But I didn't like the audiobook narrator.
Mm.
So we own a copy and it's really sweet. It's my husband's that he got for his 7th birthday and he still has it.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, I think I'll just save it as a read aloud with Peter. At some point we'll read it
Yeah,
and
they're perfect for that, and they're short. They're not that long. None of them are. So
yes.
that's perfect read aloud book.
All right, so are we on number 6 now?
Um, I think 7. I think 7.
Okay,
Yeah, we're on
what was
7.
number 7?
Well, I'll just keep going with books, I think. I have 2 more books.
Okay, go
So,
for it.
number 7 is The Secret Garden, which I only read for the first time last year. I had never read it before. So, this is the only one that, like, doesn't have nostalgia. Actually, kind of the next one too, now that I think about it. So, The Secret well, I don't know. I watched the movie version, and I honestly am not sure which ones. I watched 2. There was, like, an animated one that I watched when I was a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was a live action one, which is probably like 90s or 80s. And I can't figure out what version it was, but The Secret Garden was introduced to me as a movie first.
It's confusing because there's one that was like 87 and then 93.
Yeah, they're
And the
close.
one from 87, you get to see them all grown up at the end. There's like an epilogue scene.
Oh.
Um, yeah, and then recently they made a steampunk like adaptation. And there's like Mary like running around in a boiler room, and it looks very unusual, but
Oh, wow.
potentially good. I don't know. It'll either be a train wreck or good.
Yeah. I'm not a big steampunk fan. I don't
Yeah.
think I don't like buy into the genre like some people really love it. So I don't know about that.
I know, I know. I would kind of like, I would not want to watch it on my own. I would want to have moral support. Yes.
Yeah. Uh,
So the secret garden, the book, what was it about the book that just really enchanted you?
it is probably I don't know, it's just the way it's written and all the like it's very descriptive.
Hmm.
It's descriptive writing. I wouldn't call it I don't know if it's flowery writing, but it's very descriptive and it definitely makes you feel the wonder. There's like a wonder that she's really good at communicating like through kids' eyes, and to be in that wonder like with the kid, um and to like be experiencing like a flower for the first time and like understanding how a flower grows or like how a garden grows. Like those are things we take for granted as adults. Like we know how nature works and the world works, but like you forget like as a kid you didn't know that at one point. And so there's like a wide-eyed wonder to the book that I just really loved.
And I do think that is something that she seems to have as an adult, is maybe still that wonder at seeing a flower bloom. And I think that is something that's really special. If you can keep that wonder at kind of these things that we might take for granted if we don't look closely enough.
Hmm.
And it is really special how she really does. I mean, you feel like you are right there with the characters, experiencing everything with them. Um, and she does setting so well. And apparently, I think for part of her childhood, her backyard bordered this big English estate. And so she was able to just like run all around, like she was allowed to do that. And
Oh,
then they moved to the city.
uh,
And it was just super devastating to
oh.
her because, yeah, because she had just relished, being out in nature. And I think it is really good for mental health if you have access to it, to be able to walk around and enjoy it.
That makes sense though, because like in the beginning of the book, like they go from kind of like a busy-ish kind of area to a more isolated area. So that makes sense. Like she's like longing to return to that
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
pastoral setting again.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You can feel her kind of pining away for it.
Hmm.
Um, so that is number 7. So what is number 8?
This is another one that I had seen the movie first as a kid, and so had an association with the movie, but had never read the book until 2 years ago, maybe? Yeah, 2 years ago. And it's Heidi. Have you ever read Heidi?
Heidi is on my short list and is one of those that I am
It's good.
devastated. I didn't read it as a child, but you have given me hope that if I've missed it, I can still have it become a favorite.
I really liked Heidi, and it has heavier like Christian themes, I would say, which I enjoyed and connected with. So Heidi too is one of those like return back to nature kind of peaceful settings, and you just want to be there with her.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a really sweet story, and they just don't write them like that anymore.
Yes, there is something about classics. You just kind of have to take your time and sit with them, but they really stay with you a lot better than a lot of modern day books.
She's a really likable protagonist as well.
Mm.
Yeah, and just the setting and like how everything wraps up. Yeah, it's a sweet one. Yeah, you should read Heidi. It's great.
Okay. All right. Heidi is happening. Actually, now I'm going to check. That sounds like a good like bedtime audiobook.
Yeah, no, I think it would be. Yeah, and it's written. I don't remember like the language being very like I think it's aimed towards younger readers too. I would say.
What's funny is like when with a classic that's like, okay, so it's on an adult level for nowadays.
Yeah,
Nowadays.
yeah, yeah.
So perfect.
It's still like somewhere in the middle. Yeah, it's not super complex writing, but it's like our kids' books are probably more written more basic now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You have reminded me and inspired me. I need to read Heidi.
Yes, yay.
Alrighty, what is number 9 on your list?
Okay, I guess I'm going back to movies. I have them all out of order, I guess.
That is
But
fun.
the non-Disney animated movies, there's like there was like a golden age of non-Disney animated movies, and I love Disney too. I just feel like everybody loves Disney.
Right?
But
Yes.
like Disney gets plenty of credit. But one that I just whenever I hear the music from it, I just like melt is like Thumbelina. If you ever watched that one.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just talking to my husband about how she almost has to marry a mole.
Yes. Yeah, there's lots of fun creatures which like were kind of scary to me when I was a kid watching it. I remember like being a little bit afraid of some of the like the moles and the frogs and all the creatures she meets.
And then is there one other character or creature that she almost has to marry?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. There it's very twisty turny. I feel like
Mhm.
there's a lot that happens. But I remember being so like enamored with Thumbelina. Like she's so beautiful.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
really liked Thumbelina.
I and the music is really good too. Love the
Really
music.
good. Yes. Um, and Anastasia, was that one that you liked?
Yeah, Anastasia for
Um,
sure. Although what I like I don't associate cozy with it, but it could be. It could be. I think
Rasputin
because
is very like
Rasputin is terrifying.
he's terrifying. And it's funny because they like comedy him up. So he's not even as terrifying as the real Rasputin would have been, but he's still like how
He's
they
so
have him like disconnect his head. So yeah, you're right. That's not really in the cozy category.
yeah, like some of his scenes are very morbid, so I'm like, oh.
Yes. Yes. So then what are some of the other like non-Disney Prince of Egypt, maybe?
Yes, love Prince of Egypt. Ugh, another one with amazing music, like way underrated. So good.
It is so good. Like you just feel inspired to like go conquer everything when you listen to Prince of Egypt
Mhm,
music. Oh,
mhm. It's very uplifting. And then another one that I adored was the Swan Princess.
I missed the boat with the Swan Princess.
Aw.
Like I think probably at some point I watched it, but I don't know how I missed out on it. It's not I don't like my parents weren't opposed to me watching it. So I missed out. I
It
don't
has
know.
some good music too. You can I always connect with the music first. But the
Yeah.
Swan the Swan Princess, I think like story-wise, I'm trying to remember if the story is like very good. I just remember singing the songs around my house.
Yeah.
It's all about music for me.
Yes. No, that's great. That's
But
great.
yeah, all the nostalgia with those. There were and it was like a golden age of non-animated or non-Disney animated movies that
Yes.
they were just like knocking it out of the park for a while in the
They
90s.
were. They were. And then was Road to El Dorado, was that Disney?
Mm, oh man.
I honestly
I
can't
don't
remember.
know. I think maybe not.
Let's just Google this.
I think maybe it was not Disney.
Yeah, it was DreamWorks. Wow.
Okay.
Kenneth Branagh did one of the main voices. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that one too. I definitely watched that one. Was that one you watched too?
You know what's funny is that was what I missed out on too, but I just remember
Oh.
seeing previews for it everywhere.
I think I was a little older of a kid and like maybe saw it at a little older age. So it doesn't like it doesn't have that ring to me.
Yes, yeah, because it says 2000 is when it came out. So that
Yeah.
would you have to, yeah, there's this like magical age where it just
Mhm.
captivates you forever.
Mhm.
Yes. Alrighty. What is the ninth thing on your list?
Okay, going back to Disney Plus, but it's not a movie. It's an ambiance. If you've ever if you have Disney Plus, they have something called Scenescapes Ambiance Collection, and it has like a bunch of different things that you can just like put on your TV as kind of background stuff. Like there's an Arendelle Yule log, and it's like this cozy fireplace that's like in the Arendelle Palace, and it's just a fire log that like crackles and stuff, and you can just put on your TV and let it
That's
play.
so cool. It's like Disney ASMR.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, so they have a Frozen one with the Yule log, and then they have Dory with like a fish tank, and she just kind of like different characters like swim through and like kind of look at the screen and then they go away. And it's super cute, and you just like leave it on your TV.
That
And
is cute.
it's like got the like whooshing water sounds. So it's kind of
Ooh,
peaceful.
yes.
And then there's like two others. One of them is just like a string of like Zen animations. Where like there's like action in the animations, but there's no like dialogue or anything, like nothing's happening. So it's just very like kind of meditative and quiet, and it'll be like a horse running by or something. Yeah. So they have this collection if you have Disney Plus. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
Scenescapes ambiance.
Ooh, I like that. Sounds like good like writing or studying like
Mhm.
background and yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
my friend who's like he's like a grown man in his 30s. He like plays the Arendelle Yule log all the time when he's working. So
that's
it
so cute. Yeah.
works.
Yeah. If it helps you focus, you know, that's great. Alrighty. And then that leads us to your 10th thing. What is the 10th thing on your list?
I think that was my 10th. Was that my
I probably like
10th?
counted wrong. So yay.
Yes,
We
that
did
was my
something.
10th thing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for doing this, Victoria.
Oh, sure, it was fun. It was fun coming up with a list. I was like, oh, I could come up with like 18 things.
I know it's hard to
Really
limit
fun.
yourself.
Yes, it was. This
Yes.
was such a
So,
fun idea. Thank you
oh,
for having me.
thank you for coming. And I feel like just booktubers and booktube viewers, we love coziness. So,
Mhm. Yep. The more we can get, the better.
yes,
Just pile
absolutely.
it on.